Hi guys, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. I'd like to talk today about some superfoods that can be used as an alternative to taking a multivitamin and mineral tablet. Some people don't like to take synthetic vitamins. They don't want to take a multivitamin and mineral tablet. They would rather try and get their nutrients from their food. Now, if these individuals try and get their nutrients from what I would consider a normal diet, even if it's of high quality, the chances are they will create a deficiency within themselves of particularly some of the trace minerals. Selenium and zinc have been identified as being very difficult to get in the diet, for example. Chromium, there was a study that was done where dietitians actually tried to create a diet that contained enough chromium, and even dietitians couldn't create a diet that had adequate amounts of chromium for an adult human. So chromium is particularly problematic, and this is because our soils have become depleted of minerals, and the plants that we grow on those soils are then depleted of minerals, and when we eat those plants we become deficient in minerals. This is why I recommend taking a multivitamin and mineral formula. It's a good insurance policy to make sure that you have optimal health even if your food is lacking somewhat, particularly in these trace minerals. But if you particularly don't want to take a multivitamin, there are certain foods you can incorporate into your diet that will not guarantee, but they will decrease the risk of you developing a deficiency disease. They've been shown in studies to contain very high concentrations of vitamins and minerals, and therefore they're some of the foods that really should be incorporated into your diet if you're not taking a multivitamin and mineral. So what are these foods? Well, we have brewer's yeast, we have wheat germ, we have pollen, and we also have some of the sea-growing plants such as kelp, chlorella and spirulina. Now, generally these foods, we can call them foods. They're not really supplements, although you can buy them obviously in powders and tablets. Let's call them foods because really they are foods. They're just powdered to be able to make them more convenient to purchase, but really they are foods. They've been shown in studies to contain very high concentrations of vitamins. They've been shown in studies to contain very high concentrations of minerals. Brewer's yeast is an old favourite of bodybuilders. The yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, is grown now on high nutrient media. It used to be a byproduct of the brewing industry, but now really it's grown specifically for supplementation, which means that the food that the yeast are given can be controlled, the pollution can be controlled, the environment of the yeast can be controlled, and this can produce a very high nutrient dense yeast that can then be supplemented into the diet of humans. Again, kelp and the algae such as chlorella and spirulina tend now to be grown in tanks specifically for supplements, which means that their environment is controlled, their pollution is controlled, and their nutrition is controlled. So therefore you end up with a very high nutrient dense product that can be put into a supplement. Wheat germ is an old favourite of health food stores. It's the wheat germ is the part of the wheat kernel that is required for the growth of a new plant from the seed. And because it is the requirement for germination, the wheat germ contains very high concentrations of all of the nutrients that would be required to create a new plant before photosynthesis can begin. And therefore, there's very high concentrations of nutrients in that part of the kernel. So these foods are very high in nutrients. They've got lots of vitamins, lots of minerals. They've got a full range of amino acids. Bee pollen, again, it's been investigated. There are very high amounts of nutrients within bee pollen, and these foods can really be thought of as superfoods. And if you eat a variety of them, if you incorporate them into your diet regularly, you can to some extent negate the requirement to need a multivitamin and mineral tablet. Personally, I would still recommend that you take a multivitamin and mineral tablet, because you know what nutrients you're getting. There is a label on the side of a multivitamin and mineral tablet that tells you what level of vitamins you're getting, what level of minerals you're getting, and therefore you can pick your multivitamin to provide the best nutrition for yourself. Eating foods, you can estimate what would be in the foods from a sample, but it's very difficult to actually state what is in a specific food. So you again still run this risk of being deficient in particular minerals if they're not in the original nutrients that were given to these organisms while they were grown. However, having said that, of all the foods you could buy if you wanted to avoid a vitamin and mineral, these superfoods really are the best ones to pick. They're old favourites of health food stores. They're actually quite cheap. And of course, there's no reason why those people taking a multivitamin mineral couldn't incorporate these into their diet anyway. They're certainly a good adjunct to a healthy diet. They provide very high quality nutrition. The minerals within these foods are very absorbable form, much more absorbable generally than you'd find in a multivitamin and mineral. So my recommendation, even if you were taking a multivitamin and mineral tablet, is to try and research these foods, see which ones may be suitable for yourself, and incorporate them into your high quality diet, which I hope you are all eating. The nutritional literature does show that if you do that, you should improve your health considerably.